Now it's just started recording. Let's try this again.
Okay.
Sorry about
Well,
that. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Time Out from the Total Line. My guest, the Panda, Scott Kirchner. How are you?
I'm super good, thanks. How about you?
I'm doing good. We had this before. We had a little bit of a technical difficulty, so I'm going to ask him again. How are you and your family doing with the COVID? You said your son had it recently, and everybody's well.
Yeah. Everybody. My son did have it, and he recovered. He had some. It was a mild case, I would say. Did have some, pretty strong symptoms. We were very lucky. He's married and has 4 children, and he was able to quarantine essentially their basement, and no one else got it. And so they're all doing well now. He essentially got out of COVID jail over the weekend, so he was able to get out a little bit, and it was kind of nice. So.
Awesome. Glad to hear it. Now let's go with the opening set. 5 questions just to get to know Scott a little bit. First question, early bird or a night owl?
Ooh, night owl. I own a bar, so.
Yeah, that would be. Any hobbies outside of darts?
I like to play golf. I don't get to do it as much as I'd like to. Really, other than that, it's a family time for me. I'm a big time family man.
What's your handicap?
I think the last time I was in a league like that, I was about an 18. So I'm not very good, but I sure do enjoy it.
I usually say when they ask me what my handicap is, I tell them my game, but that's another story. Okay, your favorite meal?
Oh, probably lasagna. It's a toss-up. Lasagna. Most pasta dishes are in pizza, but lasagna is my go-to.
You prefer playing steel tip or soft tip?
It depends, I guess. Because I love both games equally, but I think the games are different in some aspects. As far as I enjoy the fun and camaraderie of the electronic game, and I love the competition of the steel tip game. And not to say that you don't have a lot of that, the fun times in steel. It's just not the same types. The loud music and it's just, like I said, I own a bar, so I'm used to that, atmosphere, and I like that. But there isn't anything better than playing against the best players, and that's, steel tip was definitely in that area.
And the greatest menu item at your bar?
Oh, this is a really hard one because we got some interesting stuff. I would say our deep fried pizza burger. And it's an interesting concept. We make our own bread dough, and you roll the bread dough out. You cook a half-pound cheese or a half-pound burger to whatever your desired, medium well,
whatever,
even medium rare. And on the inside of that, you take the burger off, you put it in on the bread dough, and you put a little bit of our homemade marinara, mozzarella cheese, a few of the toppings, and then you seal that up almost like a calzone type, and you seal that burger in and you deep fry it. And then you take it out, and while that's deep frying, you take a basket of mozzarella cheese and all the, let's say you got pepperoni, sausage, onions, you put all of that into a basket of cheese, and you melt that all up. When it comes out, you put that down, you put some more marinara over the top, all that melted cheese and stuff over the top. It looks like a pizza when you're done. It is amazing.
Oh my God. Well, I might have to make a trip up there to get that. That sounds absolute. Hey, I'm a big guy. I love to eat my, that just sounds absolutely phenomenal. So if you get a chance, we'll get a chance to talk about that later on in the show here. So, okay, first off, the standard question is, how did you get into darts?
I was a really good bowler, and that's what I wanted to do. And my dad played darts. My dad was a good dart player, and he called me up one night and said, hey, we need somebody to play. He played in what back then was called their Masters League, and I just looked at it. I said, Dad, I don't play darts. I don't know how to do it. He's like, I don't need a player. I need a body. We're going to forfeit.
Yeah.
So I agreed to do it. And I went out, and the first night we played against the first place team, and I actually won 2 games. And they just explained to me how to play it. And we'd messed around at the house, we had an old cork board up and stuff.
Yeah.
And afterwards I was talking to him, and I was just like, if that's the best team, and I want to maybe I want to play this. And I literally the next day I went out and bought just a plastic one and hung it in my house. And I was only 19 years old, and me and my wife were pregnant, so I was home all the time. Mm-hmm. So I literally started practicing. And once I got going, once I started playing, I seen a little bit of improvement. I started playing on my dad's team. I was addicted. I would play 3, 4, 5 hours a night. It was nuts. So it was, my dad is the one who got me into it.
When you bowled, what was your average?
The highest average I ever had was 221, but that was, 20 years ago now.
That's still I was a bowler too. Any perfect games?
Not sanctioned. I did it. I had 2 in tournament play that wasn't sanctioned. So unfortunately, that's one of the only regrets that I have in bowling, is I didn't get one. I could still go back and do it now. So maybe I'll do that later.
Yeah, I went. Actually, the last year I bowled was like 10 years ago, and my high average was 221. And the last year I was known as the best bowler in the house without a 300. And then within a span of, I kid you not, they said when you get one, you're going to get a bunch. I'm like, there's no way. I had one in January, February, March, and May. 4 within a span of like 5 months. It's like, something, I'm done. I had 400s. I have 800 series. So that's awesome. Good. Your differences in between the BDO, the PDC, and darts live that you played over in Japan. I know they're 3 totally different things.
Yeah.
But what like pros and cons of each of them, especially with the BDO now that it's basically gone by the wayside?
Well, the cons, I'll start with the PDC is the idea that you have to qualify for it. For us Americans, it's very, very difficult. Yeah. And the commitment. I was in 2007 and 8. I was traveling over there with Johnny K. And at the end of the day, the best weekend I ever had, we actually flew into Birmingham, England, and I didn't play very well over the weekend. But me and Johnny rode with Ronnie Baxter up to Bristol. And we rented a house, and my wife came in, and the next weekend I played the best I'd ever played. It was the most comfortable I ever was. And I actually talked to my wife that at the end of that tournament and just said, there's only one thing I can do. I can either commit to this full time, which would mean moving here part-time, or I travel a different route. And our kids were young, and I couldn't commit to going over there. So that was essentially the end of my traveling days in the PDC. So that for the PDC, that's in the BDO. I mean, I don't have a lot of experience with them. I never really tried to qualify for their tournaments. I was so busy with the electronic darts scene. The steel tip events I went to, there was only 8 or 10 of them a year, so I wasn't up in the ADO points and all that. I wasn't involved with a lot of that. I mean, always great events. I loved those. The darts live events, obviously the cons are very difficult to get to because most of them were in Asia.
Right.
But once you got there, I wouldn't trade those experiences for anything. I mean, I met so many incredible people, went to so many incredible places, and it was a really an amazing time of my life, being able to do that and compete against the top soft tip players in the world. Now, to be honest with you, there's a lot of the steel tip guys were coming in, so you were kind of getting a crossbreed. A lot of those guys were playing in both of them, and it was just so much fun.
Yeah, I was looking up the different your different tournaments that you played, and I saw that you the one match that I absolutely loved watching and actually really got me started, believe it or not, was your 2013 Stage 2 win against Paul Lim, and uh, just at the close. I mean, you were up in the cricket in the third round, and I remember you were down. You were down 413 to 400, and you just close out the bull to close out Paul Lim's scoring. What was your thinking when he needed to hit a triple 15, 17, and 18, and he got the 15 and 17? What were you thinking when that dart was heading to the triple 18?
I get to start game 4. That's what I was thinking. I didn't think there was any way, shape, or form he was going to miss it. That's actually a funny story because when I threw that dart, in my head, I'd miscounted. I thought I was up by a few points. Mm-hmm. So when I come back, if they ever had the camera on my face right away, I kind of started laughing and shook my head. I'm like, oh my God, I just gave him a chance. And I would have bet $1 million he was going to sink that. That's just who Paul is. And I thank my lucky stars that, fortunately I was up 2-0 and I was going to get to start the next game. So, but that was funny. I remember just going, oh boy, you did it here.
That was like that. One of the first matches that I watched when I really started to want to start doing this and playing. I've been playing for like 15 months. So I've been watching a lot of the darts live from back then. And I saw that match and it was one of the first matches. And it's like, okay, you heard about Paul Lim, and it was just, I'm sure that's like a highlight of.
Oh, I've known Paul for, 30 years from the dart scene, from, just going back to the NDA days out in Las Vegas, and medalist. And I played that a couple of times. That wasn't real prevalent in my area, but he's always been someone that I absolutely looked up to, and we became very, very close friends. And I remember I was so scared having to play him because I wanted to win so bad. Mm-hmm. But I know what you get when you get Paulie. Right. You know how tough that game is going to be, and it's one of my prouder moments ever was being able to actually beat him and come through that and win that stage. It was an amazing feeling.
And then with that, watching that for the first time, you're something that you're known for, and you see, and you're laughing, so you know what I'm going to talk about. You always see the phantom throw.
Yeah.
How did that start? Was that just like a mental set to like, okay, and now it's time, or okay, because I'm trying to find a routine for me because it seems like I rushed the first dart a lot.
Well, that right there is exactly what it was for me. When I first started playing, young and excited, and back then the dartboards usually took a little bit longer to switch over, and I would always run up to the line and I'd be standing there with my arm up in the air, kind of holding, and then it's like I'd let my arm down and then it would turn, and I'm like, oh, good Lord. So one day I was standing there and I just, you kind of wait, and I just kind of pulled my hand up and I did the phantom throw, they call it. And when I finished it, it kind of relaxed me. And when I reached back, grabbed my dart, the board had switched over. So I was like, oh, well, that worked out. And it turned into really so much more than that. It was a mechanism for me to relax so much. It really, I would always talk to myself, and, in the biggest moments, and the point where, you have to be the most calm. I could tell myself, I just, when I pull up for that, I let it go, and I just feel my body relax with that throw, and it releases everything. And it seems funny to a lot of people, but it was a major contributor to my dart game. Absolutely.
Awesome. Okay, we'll get to the 180 segment now. This is the part where Scott is going to ask me a question if he so desires. So, Scott, the floor is yours.
Well, I guess, you said you've only been playing for 15 months. It'd be kind of a two-part question. Okay. What did get you into the game, and what the heck took you so long?
Well, first off, what got me into the game was I was playing pool, and I was in a pool league, and they had like the regular, the American style dartboards, and would just throw like a game of baseball or whatever. Yeah. And then I really started watching Soft Tip then, and then once I started watching Soft Tip, I just got really, really involved. I really wanted to get involved in it, but there were no leagues around our area for soft tip. Okay, so I thought, you know something, I'll just get a soft tip board and play, and then it just got more and more. And the reason why it took me so long to get into it is, well, with bowling, I was bowling 3 nights a week. When you bowl
Yeah.
Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, and then you're asked to sub early and late, you really didn't have a lot of time to put into it. Plus, I was helping some kids like in high school, so yeah, I was doing that, and then I got in the pool league, and then it was just like a fun thing. But then it's like I really want to do something because I really wasn't great at pool, so I want to try to do something where I could, focus on it myself. And then I ended up getting a Viper Ion, then I ended up getting the Nexus, then I ended up getting a Grand Board. So, so and then we finally got a soft tip league here. It's a remote league that uses a bull shooter board,
Okay.
and
Yep.
we actually got a bar to have the machine. And I mean, our team, like, none of our guys were like, well, we don't know how to play. We don't know how to play 501. I'm like, I'm not worrying about playing. It's not worrying about winning. It's about playing. It's
Yeah.
about, having fun, team atmosphere and stuff. And then my guys, I have 3 guys and a gal on our team. And the first night, we're like, we're gonna get crushed. It's like it's handicapped. Don't worry about it. And we're at this point now. The one My one friend got a grand board dash. I had a grand board dash, upgraded to the 3S. I sold that to one of my friends on my team. So yeah, so we're actually like itching for this whole pandemic thing to get us so we can get back out and
Yeah.
play. So yeah, but that's why I got started so late. I wish I wouldn't have, because
Sure.
I absolutely love it. All right, the second half of the question I'm going to ask you is: you spoke about the NDA earlier. What
Yep.
was it like back in 2017 in the team finals to knock out that 170 to win?
It was pretty amazing. It really was. That if you watch that video, my buddy, teammate Ben Dersch, was, I believe, sitting at 24 already.
Yes.
And I remember giving him a look like, hey, and he looks at me and goes, "You would," just because he had thrown perfect darts down to there, and I'm way
Yeah.
behind.
Yeah.
And when it was exhilarating. Obviously, you're so excited, and to be able to hit a dart like that with that much on the line, it really just, there's not a better feeling in the whole world. There really isn't.
And I saw that dart was in the black. Now, were they playing split bull then, or was it the whole bull?
Yes,
Or they were playing
it
split
was
bull,
split.
so it needed to
It
be.
had to be in the black.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's even more impressive. It's like I didn't even like. Well, that was in the black. Did you? And I wanted to ask you if it needed to be in the black, if it was a split bull. So, well,
Yeah.
that's why you're at where you're at. You won a PDC World Soft Tip qualifier to get to the PDC World Championship. You had a great preliminary match where you whitewashed your opponent.
Yeah.
Then you faced Gary Anderson, and eh, it seemed like Anderson didn't or wasn't pleased with your pace of play because of your phantom throw.
Yeah.
Did that put you off at all, knowing that he might have been a little bit off with his game with that? Or was it just, okay, hey, this is what I do, deal with it. I'm not doing anything to impede you. This is
Yeah.
that.
When they all, I didn't know Gary from my time when I played earlier, but I knew a lot of the other players, and they all knew about me, and they all knew about my phantom dart. And I knew he was put off by it, but the way I look at it is my timing is consistent. There's never, I don't go up there and stall one time, practice 10 darts and then throw, or it's always exactly the same. So it may be a little bit slower than most. I don't have a problem with that, but it's consistent every single time. And to be honest with you, I know it put him off, but I think people made a bigger deal out of it than he did. He said afterwards, yes, it did bother me, the pace of plays, and he said that many times. In his interview, though, he was led essentially into like, were you mad at Scott for this? Were you? And he was great. If you ever go back and listen to his interview, he says right out, no, Scott hit some darts when he had to. He took his shots. He was very nice, just straight up nice about a situation that I think a lot of the public wanted him to kind of be angry, if that makes sense.
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
I've watched that video, and I think it's Stuart Pikes actually told John Part at one point, have you ever wanted to punch your opponent in the face? Because I was throwing that phantom dart. I was like, holy smokes, I want to go meet this Stuart guy.
Yeah. I was watching that as part of the prep, and it was just, I mean, you played well. I mean,
I'll always regret not hitting the double 11.
I was just
because
going to ask you. I was in my notes.
Yeah. And all my friends still haunt me. They know it haunts me. So if I'm ever at 22, they're like, "Oh, look at this!"
That's when you throw a dart at like 6 or something, so you don't have to. Oh, I'm at 16 now.
Yeah. But I look at that. I mean, obviously, he's one of the best, if not the best player. At that time, he was the best player in the world. And if that goes wire in instead of wire out, I'm up 2-1 with the throw.
Yeah, that's the momentum changer.
Yeah, and it just that one I still have nightmares about it, to be honest with you. But it was that match was the greatest feeling I've ever had on a stage. I played on some pretty big ones, and I just, it was incredible. Yeah.
And as you said about like having to qualify in the PDC, why don't you think that it's difficult to see? It's almost like soccer over there and darts over there. We don't have that here, which is kind of, I wouldn't say upsetting, but it is kind of, because it's
disappointing.
It's a great game. It's a great game. It doesn't take a lot to get started in it. You don't have to, buy $130 bowling shoes or a $200 or a $200 bowling ball or a $300 pool cue. You can just get a cheap set of darts for like 15-20 bucks and play, and you don't have to worry if you want to practice at home. You can practice whenever you want.
Yeah.
Why do you think it's not as popular over here? And do you think, I don't think you can ever get to the popularization that it's over in England, but do you think it can get popular over here over time?
I do. I think that it's over there. It's been mainstream for so long. They've had stars in the game since the 70s.
Yeah.
And when I first started playing in the early 90s, the stars of our game actually played with a lot of those guys. And they came over here. There was money in the game. It was when the money started to dry up that the separation came. They formed, and then when they formed the PDC, obviously that's their own gig, and that it really hurt our games here in the U.S., our tournaments, when you lost the talent from overseas coming here.
Right.
And I think it can get to that if we get to the ground roots level, like they've done in all the other countries. If you look at what Australia's done, I was over there with a guy, Rob Denny, who's in charge of the Dart Players Australia. Those guys they started from the ground up, and they have built an incredible program over there. And what they've done is they started with the kids. They've got a program that involves those, and that is definitely something that I would like to see done here. And we've talked about doing it right here at our bar, and getting something going for the kids here, because I did grow up in bowling. We had youth leagues in bowling. Why can't we have that? So I think that the opportunity is there. I think it just really watching the PDC stuff on Facebook. If you look at the viewership of those, it's gone up exponentially over the last couple of years, because it's out there now. Players can actually see it, so I do think the opportunity's there. Yeah.
Also, and you mentioned before that you own Bart Fast Eddie's in is it Janesville, Wisconsin?
Yes, sir.
Uh, Sir, I'm Gerald. I'm not a sir. uh, uh, so what got you really into doing this? I mean, which is tougher, being a dart pro or being a bar grill slash owner?
Being a bar owner by far.
Yeah,
it's
well,
20,
yeah.
it's a 24/7 job. But I mean, I love it. I love the people that come here. That's you do it. You really, as far as I'm concerned, I do it because I love being around the people, my customers, the players, and I have dart leagues 3 nights a week, tournaments at least one more time a week, sometimes two, and I have players in every day. And then I have my regular customers as well. So I mean, we're really just a big family here,
Mhm.
and I love that. I mean, that's to me, that's what darts is just an extension of family.
Okay, now let's get to the three dart out. The last three questions of the interview. First question is, how did you get the nickname the Panda?
That is funny, actually. My son actually gave it to me. We were and obviously Kung Fu Panda was out,
Mhm.
and we would, if you know my family at all, we like to mess around. We're always picking on each other and doing stuff. Well, my son said something to me, and I turned around and I'm like, "You better watch your mouth, guy," and we're laughing.
Mhm.
And he said something else, and I went, "Whoa!" on a karate stance. And he looks and go, "Hey, settle down, Kung Fu Panda."
That's
And
awesome.
everyone started laughing. So I mean, literally, it stuck instantly. So that's where, yeah, you can blame my son, Jake.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's an awesome story. Uh, Question number two: your greatest achievement in darts.
Ooh. Uh, that's really hard. It's hard to pinpoint one because for me, if I can say, there's three that all kind of rank the same for me.
Okay.
The first one is being the first time I ever won a Team USA event in Las Vegas. Playing for your country, there's nothing better in the world than playing for your country. And I was on that team for, man, I had 15 straight years, I think, out there. And I'll be honest with you, and the feeling that you get is different than the feeling you get for anything else. I absolutely love that. Um, the second would be when I won Super Darts. Uh, it was the first time that Super Darts had been open to international players,
Mhm.
and we had two PDC players, uh, a bunch of people from obviously all over Asia, and then me, and there was another guy actually from my hometown, Van Dersch, who I spoke of earlier.
Mhm.
We were the two leading point people in the Darts Live event tour at the time, so we were invited, and we were on opposite sides of the bracket, and we played all the way down, and we played each other in the finals. So you have the biggest at the time international plastic tip event, and two guys from Podunk, Janesville end up playing each other in the finals. And to win that event I mean, it validated a lot of stuff for me. It really did.
Sure.
It was an incredible thing. And then the third thing is what we spoke of earlier, playing at the PDC, the World Championships, is the greatest dart experience I've ever had. Like, just to take that all in. I was so scared. I was going to be nervous when I went there. And when I played my first match, the prelim, when I walked up on that stage, I was jittery, but I wasn't as jittery as I thought I would be. And I told myself, you're not going to look at the crowd. You're not going to do any of that stuff. And I played all right. I didn't play great, but I played all right, and I won 4-0. And when I come off the stage, I told my wife, I said, I'm playing Gary Anderson, who's the best player in the world. I'm going to, I'm going to soak this all up.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to enjoy every second of it. So when I went on the stage that time, I remember going up and looking at there's 7,000 screaming people, and
Mhm.
it was the feeling that you get. It just, I can't describe it. You really can't. And I was more comfortable playing that match than I ever assumed I could be. At no point I wasn't nervous. I didn't have the jitters. I don't know why, but it was absolutely incredible to be on that stage and share it with the best player, Gary Anderson, in the world. It was.
I couldn't imagine. I mean, I would be looking over the stage, probably up chucking, having to have that. But yeah, and I watched that match, like I said, and it's I won't mention the double again, but it was an absolute. It was an absolute joy to watch you, even in both in thing I said, and like I said, both. You don't see a lot of American players, so I really gravitated to watching you in the soft tip. So you're basically my inspiration to get into soft tip. Watching you. So I that's when I said you agreed to this. I was like, said my wife, I go, oh my god. She's like, what? I said, Scott Kurtz was gonna get the interview, and she's like, I said, the guy that I remember. She goes, then she said, oh, the guy that throws the fake dart. I'm like, yeah, that's the one. That's the one.
Yeah,
so at least she knew who you are. She doesn't know many darts people, but she knows who you are. So that's good. And my last question is going to be, what is your greatest achievement in your personal life?
Oh wow. Again, I don't know if I could give just one, because I've been married to my beautiful wife. Well, we've been together for 32 and a half years. We have two beautiful children, Tracy and Jake. And maybe if I would say our 8 grandchildren. I mean, that because especially this last while, I know I told you that one of my granddaughter Emmy got sick, and that really, it brought our family, it unfortunately brought us closer together with coming through this, but it made you appreciate everything a little bit more. And we still have a really hard time dealing with it, but my son and daughter-in-law just had another baby just 2 months ago, Elsie, and my daughter, who lost Emmy, is pregnant again. She's going to have a little boy, so we'll be at 8. But I'd say that's my creating that much of a family is my greatest achievement.
That is absolutely. We talked about that earlier, and it's definitely hard for, like I said to you when we were talking, we were messaging back and forth. I played Santa for a 7-year-old, and I only known her for 2 hours, and it was just it was heartbreaking, and I just couldn't imagine seeing it that close. So I appreciate you sharing that story. And now we have Game Shot. This is where you can thank everybody, your family, friends, anything, shout out whatever you want to do. So the Panda, the floor is yours.
Well, I would like to start by, like I always do, thanking my wife, Jude. Without her, none of what I ever did would have been possible. She was my backbone and my inspiration through it all. My family, if anyone knows me, knows that family is the most important thing in the world to me. So thanking them is first and foremost. As sponsors go, to be honest with you, I don't have any sponsors anymore, because I've been out of the game for 2 years. I was with L Style. I'm no longer with them. As far as I know, you can ask Chioshi about that. Dart Brokers, big shout out to Thomas. He's always taken care of me. I've been with those guys for 12, 13 years. And really, as far as everything else goes, I mean, Darts Live, they were a huge part of my life when I was able to go over there. I can't thank them enough. L Style, I go back. If I was going to thank a barrel sponsor, I've been with a few, but my original 888, my sponsor's name was June K. Lin. And to this day, he's one of my close friends. And without him, none of this would have been possible for my traveling and stuff. He's the one who got me going into this. So a big shout out to June K. He's my buddy, and I appreciate it more than he knows. So that'd be about it.
Yep.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you. No, I actually started with L style because, like I said, watching you, I see the L style, like, what's that? And I got into that, so I've got the L style flights and everything else. So, this has been an absolute honor and a privilege to interview you. Thank you for your time. And
No problem. Thank you.
This has been Time Out from the Tow Line. See you next time on the Aki.
All right.
And thank you. That was fantastic. I greatly appreciate it.
No problem, sir. I appreciate it. I had fun. Thank you.
I'm glad you did. Hey, take care and good luck with everything, and hope the new grandbabies come out happy and healthy.
Perfect. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
All right. You take care.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.